Hey guys, welcome to Take Action Training. I am Julie.
And I am Jess.
And together we are socially inclined and J squared. And anything else you want to call us, we'll probably answer to. So,
as long as it's sweet, as long as you're sweet about it.
Yep. So if you're new here, the purpose of Take Action Trainings are just that. It's something that you can take action on this week, get set up, and get a win in your business. So these are pretty much learn one time and get the benefit. Some of them are do one time, but this is going to be something that you're going to add into your content mix every single month when you're planning. So today's topic is curated content. And Jessica enlightened me on something quite funny of when we first started working together.
Yeah, it was actually before we started working together way back in 2015. I had just kind of been kicked out of the corporate world and decided I was going to be an entrepreneur. And Julie gives me some business advice and says, you need to use some curated content. And that was one of those moments where like my brain just kind of shut down, kind of in the way that it did when she'd talk about adding code or doing certain things that just seemed way over my head. And she had to kind of talk me back down and just explain to me that curated content is nothing more than finding content that's relevant to your niche without being competing to you specifically, and sharing it and giving obviously credit for who you shared that from. But curated content is fun and it's definitely got a spot in your marketing mix. So good thing you showed up today.
Exactly. And it's a great way to build authority. And it's easy once you know the why you want to do it and then how to find it. So it's really, really easy. So, all right, let me see, make sure I can get to my screen that is sharing. In case y'all don't know, I've got still maybe only 57 tabs open today. So I did close out a whole set of them. So, all right.
Does anybody while you're doing that, does anybody use curated content, or have you always kind of held back? Because I know when I started my business, it was network marketing, and I had a very scarcity centered mindset about business. So I was hardcore. I will not cite anyone else's stuff. Everything has to be organic. And that was probably why Julie started talking to me about curated content and using it. But let me know in the chat if you use it, why or why not, and if you've seen any kind of benefit from it. And we're going to kind of talk more about that throughout this training. And
in case it's flown right over your head, curated content is basically other people's content, like blogs. It can be vendor news. It can be anything that you didn't create that someone else created. And it typically is in the news type, blog type sphere, but it can also incorporate sharing other people's social posts. So we're going to talk about the pros and the cons and how to find it and some good stuff. So I'm checking.
Awesome. Use it, but I filter it. Good. Always important. Used to starting a new business and need to start again. Yep. I've used it and had good results. Awesome.
And I do want to say hi to Debbie. We haven't said hello to Debbie yet this morning. Thanks for showing up. Debbie support, SI support in the house. We're actually, if Debbie's here on Thursday, we're going to bring her in on office hours to say hello. All right. You want to, all right. Anybody? So some people have used it. Yes. Use stuff that I pay to use. Not sure about how to use it without copywriting. So Sonia, that is probably more of PLR type stuff where you're posting, and this is going to be sharing blogs and things for social. So you're going to get an education here. All right. So basically, content curation. We're talking about just collecting up. If you have been following us for any certain amount of time, you know that we are batchers, me specifically. Like I want to do a whole lot of something at once. So curated content is a great area for that. So you're going to collect up, you're going to think and brainstorm ahead, information, sites, places that you can get information from to share to build your authority, right? Scroll up.
Yeah. So I like this example right here, obviously, because I started in the health and wellness industry. But, so if you're a personal trainer, the idea of curated content is you find something complementary, right? So if you're a personal trainer, you're not going to share another personal trainer's blog post right off their website, because if they're trying to make a living, they have ways to funnel people off of their website and into their sphere. And that's how you lose people. But what you might do instead is find the complementary topics, which I put here: health, diet, self-improvement. So any of, the magazines are always a pretty safe bet, because, they're selling like massive stuff that's not necessarily a competitor to you, but like women's health magazines and things like that. If your ideal client, obviously if your ideal client's a woman, you would go with the women's health magazine type thing.
And this plays so much on one of our previous, or several of our previous Take Action trainings. The content themes that we did, this really comes into play here. So you want to piggyback off that. If you haven't seen it, go get our replays. Debbie can drop the link. But basically what the gist of that was, you came up with topics that surround your niche, and then you share content or you create content based on that. Well, curated content is no different. You can use those same content themes to find curated content on those. So
exactly.
With that same sphere, again, Jessica said, you're not sharing competition. There is so much. Once you get out and look to see what all is out there, there is a wealth of information. All right. So the why I've already hinted to or spelled out was building authority is a great way. You are presenting yourself as the expert in your field. If you are in fitness, again, you are trying to bring people in and to know that you know what you're talking about. So,
yeah, and you can kind of think about it like this. If your doctor, right, maybe a specialist, let's just say like a cardiologist, you would obviously want that cardiologist to be abreast and reading up on the latest cardiology news, cardiac news. And if you saw that particular doctor sharing articles and saying, I read this is my takeaway, this is why this is beneficial, and then maybe even saying, and this might be where this article is a little short, you're not just going to be sharing this curated content without using your voice. And that's where creating yourself as an authority or establishing yourself as a resource can be done so well when you're using this kind of curated content.
Right. Your takeaways are what make it your own. Again, you're going to give credit to where credit is due, wherever it was written from, but then give your takeaways and then push them to read it or not. I mean, obviously, if you're giving the summary of it, they may or may not click it. I do want to preface and say that of all the content, that sharing content that will takes you away from Facebook, the algorithm does not love. However, people do, and the algorithm will rebound. So you don't have to be afraid. But so this will be a smaller part of your marketing mix. But I just want to state that it is counterintuitive, because you're sharing something that takes them away from Facebook, and Facebook does not love that. However, we still suggest to do it, and it builds your credibility by doing it.
For sure. And when you're looking for this kind of curated content, I know I got to learn when I'm looking for curated content for Socially Inclined, I get to learn a lot by kind of deciphering between the junk articles and the quality articles. And you can do the same thing no matter what your niche is in. So, ginseng. She has the elderberry syrup. And then also I think you do a lot with essential oils. I'm not sure if that's actual monetized thing for you or not. But when you're looking for that, you're naturally going to increase your knowledge and become, get a little more robust understanding maybe of essential oils whenever you're kind of going through these blog articles or these magazine articles that are on that topic, and kind of learning which ones you would want to share and which ones you wouldn't.
Exactly. And again, paramount is showing your authority, showing that you are an expert in your field. Okay. So as you're going through and finding these, you are becoming more and more and more of an expert. So, our little list down here. Oh, we need to drop the resource.
I already did. Someone had to remind me.
Okay. I missed it. Sorry. All right. So we have a quick checklist here, basically, or benefits, curating content to show what you're talking about. We've already covered that. The magic of quality content rubs off when you share it. Exactly what we just talked about. Curated content shows the audience that you can meet their needs. That is a huge one. We talk about building know, like, and trust. This is definitely trust factor. No matter what niche you're in, we always talk about fitness. We always talk about skincare. Specifically in fitness, there are, in most areas, there are so many people when it's a private type online training like fitness can be. There are so many options out there. You have to stand out. So we always say show up and stand out. This is one of the ways that will help you to do that. Curated content is fun and educational. By searching for content to share, you learn a lot. We talked about that. And curating content is relatively easy. That's what we're going to show you next in the how. It's actually not hard at all once you get your mind wrapped around what you're wanting to do. So there's tons of things out there.
Exactly. It's so easy too. You have to use restraint because, like Julie said, this is going to make up probably the smallest part of your marketing mix, but it's such a nice break when you know that you're just sharing a piece of content and not having to create it all yourself from scratch.
Right. And again, we do want to stress that what's going to make it your own is by putting your voice to it and your philosophy to it. So, all right. So how to use. So we always follow the what, why, how. So we're to the how, obviously. So you're going to share a predetermined amount of curated content each day or each week. So depending on how much you want to scale this to how much content you put out. So in our Your Social Plan, we always provide 3 posts a day. That seems to work well on social media. So if that's the case, it's going to be several pieces a week that you're going to use with that. The trick is to find the right people to curate. Look for people that will boost your credibility and who consistently provide substance and value. So with this, I want to say that we want to just get out and do a brain dump of complementary topics. So first, we're going to create that content theme like we talked about. So I hate to go back to fitness, but obviously Jess shared earlier topics around fitness. So once you do that, then you can start finding industry magazines, blogs, and make a list of all of those. So you're going to have a bank of a bunch of places that you can go and look.
Exactly. And you can niche, the more you niche down, the better. So like, if you're a vegan yoga instructor, then you find vegan articles, and then maybe you specialize in postmenopausal yoga. Then you can also find like 10 ways to quell the aggravation of menopause blog, and all of that can kind of come together. And again, just as we talked a lot about this in office hours, for those of you who were there, it's not necessarily about being 100% a reflection of your business, more like appealing to your ideal client and what would they want to get on social media and read. And if you can work from that space, then it becomes very easy to find something that they would want to read. And then you get to kind of have that circle back to you by sharing this article and putting your takeaways there.
Right.
As
and
well.
To spell that out a little bit more, we have really been actively working to educate the fact that all of your content does not have to be in your niche. People do not come to social media to purchase from you or to purchase anything, actually. So they are coming for enjoyment, entertainment, passing the time, networking, talking with friends, whatever. So a part of your content, not most of it, I would say some of it should definitely not be exactly around your niche. You can always bring it in, and that's a great way that curated content can do that. So when you're batching and thinking about this, you want to go back, step back a little bit and think about areas that support your niche, but that aren't truly in your niche. So I don't know, drinking water, or the mindset. Like if you're in fitness, even mindset pieces, what promotes you to get up and actually do the exercise every day. Give me some other examples, Jess. Let's pick another niche. I'm picking on.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, so first, let me just say, a couple times a week for those of you who are asking how much is a small part of your marketing mix. I would say, and I think Julie already mentioned it, no more than a couple times a week. And that's if you're posting regularly 2 to 3 times a day. And of course, Instagram does not promote shareable articles like this.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that.
So this is going to be strictly for like Facebook and LinkedIn. LinkedIn. Yeah, LinkedIn's a good place to use shareable content or shared content as well.
And Twitter.
So let's just talk about from the social media marketing niche. If we weren't going to share something specific to social media marketing, it could be something like mompreneur inspiration or time management tips, how to work from home without losing your mind, things that person is going to want to hear about. I did 4 tips on how to improve your personal style on a budget. So yeah, there you go. It might not appeal to everybody, but it's complementary, and kind of thinking about it outside of the niche, like my vegan and my menopause example earlier. That's a good way to not worry so much about competitors' articles, because you're not sharing a vegan postmenopausal yoga instructor's blog. You're sharing menopausal articles or the plant-based articles or whatever. Oh no, you would not post curated content on your blog. Someone just asked. You could in a way.
There's a way to.
That's not specifically what we're talking about today.
Yes, but there are people that do it for SEO purposes, search engine optimization. If you do that, so you can think about it the same way as social media, but you have to write a good bit of your take on it and very much credit. So think same as the social, but you have to write more. When you're blogging, you need to be at least 300, 500 words for it to work for you. So you are going to position it in a way that you are sort of reviewing what they wrote. Okay. So like your take on it, and then read the full article here. So it is possible. There's a lot more bandwidth involved in doing that. But again, you're piggybacking off of their work. So it will help you in the search engines if you use all the keywords correctly. Again, when we are talking about you only have so many hours in a day, a quick win with curated content would be to use for social. You're going to spend more time doing it on web or blog, but you will get benefit out of it. Just be sure to credit properly with the link. Let's see. Oh, so Jen too. Jen's our elderberry person. So I had thought of, obviously, I want to use her as an example, that when you're thinking about complementary content, again, she could find articles on elderberry syrup quite easily. And that might be something that she wants to do a couple a month, where the benefits of whatever, as long as it's not someone else that's selling, or that maybe even has a product. So you're looking for industry type stuff, or health magazine type stuff. But who is buying the elderberry syrup? That's what we're going to try to find content that is built around that. So it's going to be moms that are worried or concerned about keeping their families healthy. Okay, so almost any health type content would be good for her. Again, anything that surrounds family would be a good example. Let's see, what else to go along to kind of with her, and then maybe we can do Nikki financial, some supporting content ideas.
Yeah, so I mean, I like the mom content, but then I mean, you also have dads too.
Sure,
you would just have to be real. So to me, Jen's niche is probably kind of hard because she's not just competing with elderberry syrup folks. She's competing with like all that Sambucol line that has like the gummies you can buy at Walmart and all of that too. So you have to be careful. Or you know, that might be a good example of when you wouldn't share certain magazine articles if they were, you know, if Sambucol was a sponsor or something like that.
And
the sound is bad now?
Oh no.
For both of us.
I don't
know.
I hear it terribly, so I'm sorry. I don't know. I can plug in my mic and see if it'll help, but it usually doesn't.
The sound is fine for Debbie, Nikki, and Suzanne. So Kim, I'm sorry. I'm not sure what's going on. The other thing I wanted to address before we got too far down is Ron wants to know, how would you curate content from magazines for your own digital magazine? So that's it would be similar to the way we talked about on blogs. You know, it would be more like a review of someone else's content.
Mm-hmm. Think about like a book review, like when you've read the book and then someone does book reviews, but you're going to do the magazine article that way. I would stress that there are so many places that you can purchase PLR or private label rights content that you wouldn't have to do that. Contact me in the chat after this and I'll kind of point you. I need to know your niche, but we probably can point you in a way to get some great content so you're not having to share other people's content solely for that purpose.
Yes. Hey, we need to do a TAT on PLR.
We do. So anybody that doesn't know what PLR is, it's a shortcut. It's already pre-written stuff. There is great PLR out there. There is junk.
Bad PLR.
So you want to see what's out there. And Ron says dog rescue. Awesome.
That's right. He's the one with the magazine calendar. Who's the magazine? That's right. Magazine.
Yep. I just rescued a dog this week that was put out at our farm. So
yeah, that's cool.
Yes. Awesome. So we can probably point you in that direction. So reach out. I'll give you a little help. So Jen says PLR.
Adding it to the list.
We should actually do this because PLR can be used to actually create social media posts as well. Show can. So we'll put that on the list. So we're not familiar. Exactly. So it is a great shortcut for people that are really into creating their own content.
Right. Yes, Jen, we are saying PLR. That is what we're saying. Rights.
Yes. Yeah. Private label rights. And that does come into play here a little bit in this, but we'll make a topic on it later. So, all right. So anybody that's not clear about exactly what we're talking about and exactly, again, coming up with your content theme, which is a topic that we've already covered. We don't want to really get tremendously into that, but that's going to help support finding this content. Okay. So we want you to be clear on the types of content that will help present yourself as an expert or knowledgeable in your area. That is the whole point here. So, and yes, the dashboard, I'm going to get to that in just a second. I do want to go through these really quick before we cut to the dashboard to show that there's a quick and easy way to do that. Obviously, a Google search will come up, and you can add some things like magazine or blog behind your topics to come up with stuff. But our dashboard has a really easy way. All right, so let's scoot ahead to, we talked about it, we've said it a couple times, but credit. So you definitely want to credit where this is coming from and give the link. No matter where you publish it, if it's on social, if it's in an email, if it's on your blog, if you completely rewrite it and make it a blog, still credit it, because obviously it's copywritten material that someone else has got blood, sweat, and tears on, unless it was PLR. So sometimes,
and if you don't credit, then you're stealing, and that's not. No one wants to be caught doing that.
Correct. So, and then we've already covered, the way to do this is to expand and put your thoughts, make yourself be the expert on that topic, on that. So where do you find content? All right. So I'm going to show you in our dashboard, but before that, you still want to get in the headspace of think about your niche. We've talked about the content themes. We're going to do vendors and brands. So if you are whatever, it doesn't exactly work in Jen's case, or if you're a product base to go brands. But in a lot of cases, it does work. Industry type topics, publications like blogs, magazines, associations. So if you're a part of an association, they will have, most of the time, have a website. They put out great content that you can share. Organizations that you might be, same exact thing as associations. Any kind of membership, especially if, I'm trying to think of a good, like the ASPCA for Ron, sponsors and contributors. So let's say, I don't know, I'm going to use Ron again. So he's got a sponsor that is sponsor of his magazine. Typically, if they're a sponsor, they're going to have complimentary content. So you can go to their blog and possibly share something. It also gives, it helps them because you're giving them more than what you've sold them if they're a sponsor. So we're going to think, so other information sources are newsletters, videos, websites. So YouTube even is a possibility. If you find a great training type or educational type video, you can share straight from YouTube. Be sure to check their description. People are using, obviously, YouTube to funnel people out of. So you don't want to share something that's going to funnel them away from you. Okay. And then let's see. So again, the brain dump is going to help you think about those things. Okay. So just get in the headspace of where would I find content?
Yeah. And there's a little space on the last page for you to do that.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm just going to scroll and show. So, all right, there's your little homework.
Quality sources is the key, is the most important part of curated content.
Yep. All right.
Because everyone knows there is a lot of junk out on the internet.
There is. There's a lot of people know about PLR. So they just post PLR content. And, sometimes it's just junk. Sometimes it's not even, it's not going to, you have to read the article as well. I always stress that. We didn't stress that here, but read the article. You'll have to read the article if you're going to.
I can't believe we even have to say that. Like,
exactly.
Duh. Obviously, you need to read what you're going to share.
Right.
This is a shortcut. It's not about being lazy.
Right. And that's really going to come into play when you see the dashboard version of this. So, all right. We're going to give you best practices, and then we're going to cut to the dashboard really quick. So, best practices. Curate carefully and strategically. Just what I said. You have to read it to make sure it lines up with your ideals.
I love this next one.
Go for it.
Know your audience. If you are marketing steaks to vegans, you are going to be broke next week. So know who you're creating content for, and things will get a lot easier.
for sure. And I want to state here again what we were talking about complementary type things. The way the algorithm works, again, is that you are trying to get likes, comments, and shares. The more that you get that on your content, the more your other content is seen. So this is a great area for you to do that. Whether or not, they don't have to click the link to go away. They may just take your word for it with, if it's 5 ways to do this, and you list those 5 ways with your take on it. They don't necessarily have to go read the article, but your takeaway is enough for them to like, comment, or share. Always add, we talk about this all the time, a call to action. It can end in a question or the next step. Okay, so the call to action is a big deal in these. All right. Curate only relevant and timely content. So that's a big thing online, is that in Google or wherever, there's content. I was looking for something the other day, and all of the SEO on these sites are tremendous. All of the results were coming back from 2009, 2010, 2011. That is probably out of date for most niches. In this one that I was searching, evidently it is not. And it was a technology-based type search I was doing. So be sure to know that that what is being said is still up to date. I'm not going to show this, but Google Alerts, you can set up key topics and set up Google Alerts to alert you of new content that's being dropped. That's a great way to stay on top of that. And then always create a plan. We talk about that all the time. Your social plan. So we are planners, batchers. So the plan is what's important. All right. So we've given you a little, that's not the, that you might need more room, do a brain dump on whatever you want to do, but create a plan. Set your times of when you're going to try to have a set goal of, if it's 2 a week, do that, do your brain dump, collect them up. All right. Homework. We talked about it. All right. So in the chat, while I'm pulling up the dashboard so I can show you an easy way to find content, tell us if this was helpful, if you can think of topics around your niche to go for. For
sure. And don't worry about Google Alerts, Jen. There is that.
You don't need them.
Google Alerts is going to be for probably harder to find content, or content that has a very short usable life, and that's just not the case with your niche. So I wouldn't worry about having to Google that and figure it out yourself.
Yeah, you have the dashboard as well. So the dashboard will pull basically all a Google Alert is you saying you want to be notified of content that on these topics. You have to wade through a lot of stuff. But it is, if you want to check it out, it's okay. All right. So in the dashboard, if you're not familiar, the Social Incline dashboard is obviously a social media posting tool, scheduling tool. We have a recommendations tab. So this is perfect for curated content. Basically, you think about what your terms are, or what your content buckets, or however you want to look at it, are. And so I've got Instagram tips just because I've pulled this up in the past for previous demos. And you'll see all of the content that comes up. So how fast, and I do want to say too, I'm showcasing our product. There are other products out there. If you do not have the Social Incline dashboard, there are paid products out there that you can go and use for just this. We've just built it into this dashboard just to make it easy for you. But there are ways to do this. So to see this, you can just click and it's going to open up in a new window for you to be able to read the post again. So you want to be sure that it is something that you want to share. You also want to be sure that it's not something that's going to lead. So I don't exactly see a funnel here. Like there's no pop-up saying, that that they have a Instagram course, let's say. So, all right. So I would share this. So I'm going to come back if I want to share it, basically all I'm going to do is click it and it's going to go off into our content library. Okay, so it's going to save all of those up. So quick work of looking for content. So fitness niche, we'll just say drinking water. You also can have multiples of these here at once and come in and do this once a week, and load up a queue. So
yeah, and if you don't have the dashboard, you can also just keep this in a Word document or a spreadsheet or however you want to be organized.
For sure. So if there was something, obviously click and read. So same take.
Trello, sure.
Yeah, Trello. If same take, if you go to Google and type in healthy water drinking habits. All right, apparently that's a thing.
And boom.
There you go, Helpline. So this is probably a perfect, accept that. A perfect, understand your fluids, set a daily goal, set reminders, bam. All right, so we're looking again. So these are great tips. You can actually create social media posts straight from this tip. Like you could have a tip Tuesday and take this out. Again, you cannot just, take this, but you can read this. Where was this? Flavor your water. Take this, read it. You can make a social post on it that doesn't even have to be curated. Okay.
Look, Julie, you can save $1,000 on LASIK in July.
I know. I need some LASIK surgery, people. So these ads, people are so annoyed by ads, and I am the person, sidebar, I'm the person that will call you out on Facebook and be like, don't be talking about Facebook ads. I love to get them, and they are perfect for me. That's an example. I need to get LASIK. So anyway, so I'm looking. So this is a long, great article. Helpline. So there's not going to be any reason. I don't see another sponsor on this page that would compete with a fitness. So yes, all you do to save it, to share it, is you're going to copy this out into your Google Doc or whatever if you don't have the dashboard. And then you want to go ahead and write your take on it. So you don't have to come back and do it later. I would do that part now. It just, to me, would take longer to come back and have to reread it after the fact. If I was doing this, I would take these tips, the highlights of these, and I would put them check, 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 check in the post with my little beginning. And, if you want to learn more, read the whole article here by Helpline here with the link out. So easy, easy, easy. Anything you want me to look up, Jess?
No, I think
examples. Everybody clear on the what, why, and how of this?
Yeah, I think we can take some final questions if anyone has any.
Yeah, and there's lots of ways to do this. It should only take, the hardest part of this is just writing your take on it. And obviously, Savita, there's so much that you can do. Savita's in the financial area. There's such good ways that you can set yourself up as the expert by sharing this other content. Even sharing stuff on back in the stimulus and like I have a bankruptcy attorney, like sharing about the forbearance and the keeping up on what is going on with the economy. Those types of things would help. Debbie says, looks like all the prior questions have been answered. Yes. If anybody has any others, put them again.
So did you answer Sheila's question?
Using that Helpline article you just pulled up about water, is it okay to use as a linked blog on your own website? Yes, it is. You want to expand upon what it's saying, give your take on it, and do that. So you're just going to have more words than what would probably be in a social post. and be sure to give credit. And
yeah, and if you have,
it.
Sorry, go ahead.
I want to say this. Helpline or whoever else will love it. That is one of the things. Backlinks to their website helps them tremendously in search engine optimization. It will help push them to the top of the search engines. So trying to find link partnerships or finding content, people that would share your content is a good thing as well.
Exactly. And if you have like a blog yourself about, your 5 top ways to stay healthy, and one of them has to do with drinking water, you can give like a little blurb about the importance of drinking water, and then you can say, to learn in depth through these 9 in-depth reasons, and then you can point them away off to the Healthline article. But the way Julie kind of outlined it would probably be the preferable way to do that.
And be sure to, I like that too. So like if that's just one snippet and you've got 5 points that carry off to 5 different articles, one thing to do, sidebar, is on your web post, be sure to open in a new window. You don't want to send traffic away from your site without running away to, you don't want to have to hit the back button. So that's an option in there. So I just want to say that since we're talking about web.
For sure.
Yes, Savita, go out there and post your critique on Dave Ramsey. So think about that again. So in her niche, she's financial. Who is the top, slated financial gurus? She could go pick all of them and do some type of, whether it be social and on her website, critiques of what's good and bad of their programs, their philosophies, whatever. That sets her up. In my mind, if I were reading it, I'm like, whoa, she's like as big as they are or whatever. So it's going to put me in the headspace of thinking she knows what she's talking about for sure.
Exactly.
Probably a great idea, especially if thinking about cutting every credit cards. I also worked for PBS, was making TV presentation on Somalians. I don't know what that comment goes with. I missed it. Sorry. One interesting thing would be to critique ourselves. Repost an article that we posted years ago and critique our past selves. Yes, that will work. Watch out, Dave Ramsey and Suze Orman. That's right. All right. So
I think that was it.
I think that's it. So
there's not a whole lot of questions still going. So we must have done a pretty good job.
Yep. So again, thank you for joining this Take Action Tuesday on Curated Content. I'm Julie.
I'm Jess, and we strive for juicy, Nikki. Thank you.
That's right.